I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
Hi, I'm Chloe Tucker Caine, and welcome to the Theater Podcast with Alan Seals.
Just one step, then suddenly a world of possibilities. Just one step, and I could be suspended in midair. Take a chance.
Hey everybody, welcome back to an all-new episode of the Theater Podcast with Alan Seals. That is me, I am Alan Seals. Today's guest is Chloe Tucker Caine, who stars on the reality show Owning Manhattan. And you may ask yourself, why is a real estate reality star on the Theater Podcast? Well, she's got a massive theater background, has actually turned to theater to start selling these $1 million listings. It's kind of an incredible story. Imagine going from an open call to starring as Sophie in the national tour of Mamma Mia, which she did, to only eventually find yourself as a power player in the world of New York City luxury real estate. Her story is how she basically went from being a self-proclaimed terrible bartender, as she puts it, who got fired from nearly every bar in town, to becoming one of the first hires at Ryan Serhant's brokerage. And we dive into how she kept her performing life a secret while building her real estate reputation, and the trauma of being a child actor in LA, and even the wild story of leaving college for an MTV reality show, becoming Elle Woods, only to be kicked off the very first night because she wasn't prepared. It is a fascinating look at how theatrical training could actually make you a shark in the closing room, and why she is now literally using musical theater to sell multi-million-dollar townhomes. So follow her on the interwebs. Follow me on the interwebs. She's got a new single out that you need to hear, which is going to be playing right now as soon as I'm done talking, written by the amazing Michael Mott, so check him out. And now everybody please enjoy this episode with Chloe Tucker Caine.
Watching the world below.
Today's guest is a dynamic performer, content creator, and real estate agent who toured the country starring as Sophie in the national tour of Mamma Mia and wrote and produced the digital series Chloe in Manhattan, which I can't stop watching. Now blending her theatrical background with high-stakes luxury real estate. What? She is a central cast member of the hit Netflix series Owning Manhattan, representing the Serhant brokerage. She even just dropped a single called Fly High that you can find everywhere you stream your music. It is beautiful. She is balancing a career on stage, on camera, and in the closing room. Chloe Tucker Caine, welcome to the Theater Podcast.
Wow, what an intro. So happy to be here.
You have such an eclectic background. And I thought, mine and some other bridging, engineering, and performing, mine was a little weird, but yours is off the charts weird, and I am here for it.
We love weird.
So, with the high level, though, we're going to get into how it all started, but at a high level, when did you tour with Mamma Mia, and then when did you get onto this reality show working with Ryan Serhant and all this other great shit that people just would never have put together?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I did the Mamma Mia tour, I think it was 2010 to 2012. And that was, I was in LA, I went to an open call, and they were like, you're going to go play Sophie and Mamma Mia. So instead of
10 to 12, okay.
being in college, I had my education basically on the road. Then I got to New York, as you do, and I was waiting for the ocean. What's it called? What's the saying? I was waiting for the to part. What's it called?
Waiting for the
I was waiting
sea
for
to
the
part.
sea to part of it all, and for New York to throw me a parade of Chloe's here, and really it was the reality of get in line like everyone else. But I started auditioning. I did some off-Broadway shows. I did regional work. And then I needed to make money. So I started bartending, and I was a terrible bartender, hired and fired from probably every bar in this town. And I was like, I got to figure something else out. So I started Airbnb-ing my apartment in Hell's Kitchen right up the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I would live with the guy I was dating on the 5th floor at the time. And I would make money that way. And I had this great little business going until it got super illegal in New York City. And my landlord, bless his heart, he called me one day. He's like, Chloe, I see what you're doing. We have cameras and you got to wrap it up. And I was like, okay, I hear you. No problem. By then I had, broken up with the loser that lived upstairs, and I had met my now husband, and he was like, why don't you just get your real estate license? You're really good at it. Like, at least you could be doing it legally. And I was like, oh, that sounds so boring. Like, what, real estate? Like, oh my God, like, no. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll get my license. It's like a 2-week course.
Mhm.
And I just busted through it, did my test, and I was like, wait a minute, this actually sounds amazing. Like, what do you mean I could make as much money as I want? I can work when I want. Like, this sounds amazing. So as you do, I watched $1 Million Listing to understand what real estate in New York looked like.
Right.
And I saw Ryan Serhant, who's, the famous gray-haired guy on the show who just kills it in real estate. And I was like, I want to do what he does. And I'm going to start copying the type of videos he makes on YouTube. And I told myself, when I get to 10 videos, I'm going to reach out to Ryan Serhant and I'm going to go work for him. I got to about 6 videos in, and someone from his office called me and they were like, hey, like, we see what you're doing online. Like, it's awesome. Ryan's starting a new brokerage. Why don't you come meet with him? So next thing you know, I'm working with Ryan Serhant. I'm one of his very first hires.
Wow.
And he's like, I'm going to do a reality show. I want you to be a part of it. And that's how it all happened.
So this is pre his reality, like when he brought it all in.
So he had a reality show called $1 Million Listing for like years.
Right.
But his new show, Owning Manhattan,
Right. Okay.
they ended $1 Million Listing, and then he pitched and packaged this new show based around his company, Serhant.
I'm trying to put my own life in the timeline of his reality. Okay, I get it, because I remember watching $1 Million Listing,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. So now, okay, I get it all. And at that point, had you decided to like split and really just being like, I'm done with theater. This is it. No more.
100%. I said to myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to forget all about performing, this thing that I did when I came out of the womb until, my whole life. I'm going to just close the door on that, and I'm going to go all in on real estate, to the point where I didn't even want people to know that I was a performer. I didn't want people to think that this was just something I was doing on the side when I was really trying to make it on Broadway. I was like, I'm going all in. But I was secretly, still taking voice lessons and dance classes. I was like going to Ripley Greer in between showings to warm my voice up. But yeah, I really didn't want people to know until recently. I had some friends reach out to me. It's kind of a weird story, but within the same week, I had 2 Michaels reach out to me. One was Michael McCrary, who I went to Boston Conservatory with, who called me out of the blue. He's like, hey, I've been thinking about you. I'm a director now. I make these videos. Like, we should do something. Like, you need to get back in the game. And I was like, okay. And then another Michael Ferreira, who's huge in the industry now. He's a musical director. He was my musical director of an off-Broadway show I did called Death of the Moon about 10 years ago. Called me the same week. He's like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Like, what are you up to? Like, why aren't you singing anymore? And it was almost like this weird sign from the universe that it's like, okay, Chloe, like, it's time to go back to what you do. So we got together and they said, what do you want to make? And I said, I know exactly what I want to make. I've been thinking about this for years. I want to turn The Wizard and I and make it Ryan Serhant and I about how I got into real estate.
Now I'm starting the rest of my life, and my limit is truly the sky. You want me on your team. When people see us, they will scream. From New York's $1 Million team, Ryan Serhant and
And I was going to bring that up because is that telling the true story of how it all happened? Because
Yeah.
I watched that this morning and I was like, wow, that's very cool. And you just like plopped in and were like, hey, Ryan, like, here I am, and get your dog off my desk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. I went to my friends, and Michael McCrary kind of put everyone together, and I sat down with someone named Richard Emilius, who does these incredible parodies, and I kind of just like word vomited my story of like how I ended up in real estate. And I really did, they set up a meeting for me to meet with Ryan, but I was like, I'm going to work for you and I'm going to be your MVP. Like that all with my dog, like that all really did happen. So yeah, I mean, they really like, I have an incredible team that I work with right now that is really able to take all the crazy things in my head and make it reality. So I feel very, very lucky on that front.
Was it hard for you to accept that people still wanted to see you performing while you had like started to make this reputation in real estate?
I think it was something deep down I was always hoping. You know, I think if you're a theater kid and you grew up wanting to perform, there's this part of you that, you know, wants to do it so desperately. And at the time, I was like, this is just, for whatever reason, at this moment in my life, like the pieces aren't working. It's not fitting. And, you know, unfortunately, I don't think it's a great trait of mine, but I very much am like, okay, I'm gonna close that and start something brand new. So it was very validating in a way to have these people reach out to being like, no, like we believe in you. We've always believed in you. Like you need to now believe in yourself.
Well, because like you can sing.
Thank you.
Like for real
Thank
sing.
you.
Not just I'm doing a parody of Wizard and I, but you nationally toured with Mamma Mia and done all
Yeah.
these things. And it has, I think, the I will put in air quotes, lack of Broadway quotes, credits, because Broadway's not the end all be all by
Yeah.
any means. It's a notch in the belt, but it's not the goal I don't think people should achieve for. And
That's good advice because I think we all kind of grew up thinking, you know, when you're a theater person, like that is the be all end all. When you're right, it's not. It is
Right.
it is something that's incredible, but there's other things you can do.
well, okay, so put a pin in that because I want to come back and talk about that.
Yeah.
But what was I originally saying? Oh, that you've got this talent, and coming to New York, like you said, you expected the seas to part. You expected everyone to just roll out the red carpet, and there are 1.5 million other people that are just as talented, if not more so.
100%.
And it is so much about the luck, the
Mhm.
luck of where you are and who you know, and if you want to be worked with again. And I think that speaks to your character when you have two people out of the blue that are just like, hey, what's up? I'm thinking about you. I think you should be singing again because that's how much I like you and how talented I think you are.
Well, that's very cool. I also think you're so right. Like that is the truth. Is you're competing with people who are just as good, if not better. And I think the people that are consistent, that show up every day, that go to the auditions, like they could actually be less talented, but they're going to do better. And that's part of it that I think in my 20s, I wasn't mature enough to really understand. Like you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
Because if you're not putting in the work, like someone else will, and they're going to beat you every time.
That's a good point. Yeah, they are going to be the people who don't give up are obviously going to be there for the opportunities when the luck needs to pick somebody.
That is exactly right.
right. So then when you were a kid then, you grew up in LA?
I did, yeah.
Grew up in LA and to parent, at least a mom who wanted to be, if I remember correctly, your mom wanted to perform or your dad?
No.
No, neither one did?
No.
Oh.
But that's funny you say that. Yeah, I'm like working on my treatment for Chloe Manhattan, the scripted series, and you know, in that world of Chloe Manhattan, you know, the mom wanted to be a theater person. So it's funny you say that because it does make a lot of sense. But no, she was in fashion, and both of my parents were in fashion. She was a fashion consultant, and my dad was a retail consultant. But she was always like a businesswoman.
Sure.
So I think, you know, I started performing when I was like 4 years old. She like stuck me in summer theater camp, and then I was auditioning, I was in classes. So it was always like a big part of my life. It was always the thing I was going to do. There was never a question. Like I did it all through high school at this big, you know, music academy. And then I was like, I'm going to Boston Conservatory. That's the only place I applied. I got in on a great scholarship, and like that was always the path. So it's funny how things kind of happen and life really surprises you a lot of the times. Like you just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, when you were a kid though, like did anything almost land or almost hit when like these auditions are going in LA?
Cough break.
Cough break. I feel like in LA, especially for child actors, this I don't know. I just kind of get this feeling that in New York you could still be a kid and be an actor, but in LA you're either an actor or you're a kid. You can't be both.
Totally. And there were so many things. I did a lot of commercials. I did a lot of pilots, like Nickelodeon. I did a bunch of stuff with them. You know, there's always the shows that it was like, oh, I got so close. So I can't remember the name of it for Love Nor Money, and didn't have more than one season where I just remember being 11 and like got it. Like my life was over. It was between me and this one other girl. And like, you don't get it. And it just, you put so much value, especially as a kid growing up in LA, on like, did I get the role or did I not? As opposed to, you know, did I do well in school this week? Did I, you know, have a good time with my friends? It's a very strange place to grow up if you're in that world.
And were your parents like kind of encouraging you to continue it, or were you just constantly like, Mom, I want to go? Like, you know, because I figure when relating to what you just said, there's got to be some part of yourself that's like, I'm going to make it so I can feel good about myself.
Yeah. I think a lot of, once again, it's like, it's something I'm working on in therapy, but a lot of my self-validation, especially growing up, came from, did I book this role? Did I not? So that's something I've always really struggled with. My mom and I joke, she's like, the only person that doesn't believe in you is you. And like, I think that's from the trauma of growing up and constantly feeling like you're competing. But what was the question?
I don't know. Oh,
we got into trauma.
Trauma, being a
Growing
kid,
up.
were you affected by, I guess, the rejection of...
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, I was very, very affected by it. And I don't even think I realized how much until I was an adult and I looked back on like, I performed at the Pantages in LA doing Mamma Mia. And that's how I got my first big agent. When I was with this agency called APA when I first got here. And I think I was with them for like a month. And I was always in the rooms. I was always in callbacks. It was always between me and one other girl. And I think because I wasn't booking it right away, I thought I was failing. So I, left one agent. I went to another agent. And I just like didn't understand the business of the business where it takes time. If you're being called in constantly by the same casting directors, if you're in callbacks, if you're in finals, like you are actually doing great. Where I think it's now taken me, almost 20 years to understand that that's what success looks like as an actor in New York, where, I wish I knew that in my early 20s. And I think I would have maybe taken a much different path. But at the same time, I think there was lessons I had to personally learn to now be able to do it and flourish.
Well, that takes me back to what we said we'd put a pin in, the Broadway being the end all be all of it all, because it's not, I don't think. And because you can have a successful career doing lots of regional theater or lots of off-Broadway or TV and film, and you're sprinkling in the occasional theater contract. Or like, there are so many people that I actually do know that supplement their income as real estate agents.
It's a great gig.
Because you can just like make your own schedule and go to auditions and whatever you need to do, right?
If I could literally give any young actor advice, it's to get your real estate license. Because what a lot of people don't know is, let's say you're at dinner and your mom's friend says she's looking for an apartment in New York City. If you literally tell an agent hey, I'm going to connect you with this woman, you get 25% of the deal. So it's a great way to make extra money that people don't realize is like, if you literally just like hand it off to a real estate agent, you're getting paid, and a lot of times like paid very well. Everyone needs a place to live, everyone. So, get your license if you're listening and you're trying to figure out what to do in New York.
I didn't know that. And now, like, I want to be a podcaster with a real estate license.
Everyone should have their license. It is, you can get your license in 2 weeks, and literally just by connecting to people, you can make a great income.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you...
Isn't that wild?
That is so wild, actually. Because I didn't realize, like, the legality of all that. And then, I mean, all I know that now there's all sorts of broker fees and things that happen. I don't know. I haven't been in the market for a place in a long time. But okay, so you are deciding at some point that you're like, all right, this acting thing. This isn't. I'm gonna throw it away. And then you go into performing, or you go into real estate performing. Yes,
literally.
You go into performing real estate.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere. We're gonna take a quick commercial break. All right, everyone. Now we're back. You're setting your sights on Brian Serhant and that brokerage and whatnot, and they reached out to you. So obviously it worked, but there are so many different levels of what you can do as a real estate broker in New York City, right? So then, was it just the $1 million listing that was kind of like, I need that drama, I want that echelon of commission, like, why go for that versus not just going out on your own and doing this independently at first?
Yeah. When I first started, I was working for this company called Triple Mint, which is now the agency. They were bought by them. I was in rentals, and I was like killing it in rentals. And I was like meeting people on Facebook Marketplace and renting them apartments. And I ended up being poached by this company called Douglas Elliman.
Yep.
And this guy said to me, hey, I want you to run a rental building. And it was like my first year in the industry, and I was running sales on this huge rental building on the Upper East Side. And I think it was around that time that I was like, okay, I'm good at this and like I can do it, but I do feel like, number one, I'm not being as creative as I would like as a human, and two, there's actually a really big hole in this market. So that's when I started saying to myself, not only do I like literally need to be creating where I feel like I'm going to die, but no one is really making interesting content around real estate. Like, and so when I started, thinking about it, who's doing it, I was like, wow, this Ryan guy is so creative. Not only is he selling real estate, he's coming up with these lavish productions and ideas. And I was like, that is a world in which I feel like I would really not only thrive, but could be really happy. Like I needed the creativity.
Yes.
So that's why I really set my sights on him, because I was like, I don't see anyone else selling like that. And that's a language I know how to speak. I can look at a property like a director and be like, what's the theme? What's the story we're telling? What's the conflict? What is the buyer looking at and not vibing with? I was like, I can do this, and I
Sure.
know I'm going to do it well with him.
That's really cool. He sells it all as a story. I think any good salesman has to craft a story.
You have to.
You have to make the person you're selling to want to know what the end is.
Yes.
And they have to see themselves in the ending.
Totally.
And so, yeah, you're right. He did a great job with that. You do a great job with that. Like when you first proposed this idea to your team of like, I'm going to make musical videos
Yeah.
about selling real estate. Were they like, oh yeah, great, cool? Or this is going to be terrible karaoke?
Well, it's funny because when I first had the idea, we have a studios team at Sirhan that makes incredible videos. And I was like, here's my idea. I want to make videos about how I got into real estate, but as musicals. And the thing is like most people don't understand how to make it. So my team, like even my videographer / editor, his name's Jake Primerman. He's a genius. He was a dancer. So he kind of understands that world. Same with like my director, like the lens in which they see the world and how things work, like they know how to make it. So like a lot of people don't. So what happened was I started making these videos that started going super viral. And I'm on this show, Owning Manhattan, on Netflix. And I was working on a townhouse, and I knew it was going to be a storyline on the show that I'm trying to sell this like very quirky townhouse that has 5 baths and 2 bedrooms. And
What?
I know, it's like it was a very strange property in Chelsea that had been sitting on the market for like 2 years, like could not be sold for love nor money. I got this from literally a cold email to this woman being like, hey, I'm at Sirhan, like would love to talk about selling your property. And we were working on this. And actually, the guy that I partnered with, his name is Niall. He was like, why don't we do like, you're a Broadway girl. Like, why don't we do something like Broadway? Like I see your videos, like that would be so cool. And I was like terrified because I put myself out there telling my story of real estate, but I had never actually tried to sell real estate with a musical. But I was like, okay, like not only am I trying this, I'm trying this on Owning Manhattan in front of 250 million people. So I was so scared, but I got my team together. I was like, this is the idea. Like there's 5 floors. Why don't we make it like a full musical where every single floor has like inspiration from a different musical? Like it was this very like elaborate idea. And I was like, why don't we have an 8-piece band? And why don't they all play out of the windows and a drone coming down? And like, it was this very like huge idea. And they were like, great, let's do it. So within a week and a half, we had it written, choreographed, blocked out, and we actually filmed the making of this on Owning Manhattan. So like the stakes could not be higher to sell it, because I was like, well, if this doesn't sell, like not only is everyone watching me sell, but it actually means that like doing a musical for a listing is not a concept that works. Thank God it's sold from this musical. And then I recently did it again on this condo called 252 7th Avenue. That I did a musical for it. It went super viral. We just put that into contract. So it is now becoming a thing that I can say with my full chest that making musicals to sell real estate does work.
Do people come to you now, like potential clients? Do they come and they're like, come make a musical about my property?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, like I thought people would think it's so stupid. And even when the show was coming out, my mom was like, I just want to prep you. Like, I know these videos are doing super well, but like, I think there's going to be a lot of people that watch it and watch the video that think it's like really silly and cringy. And so I was like ready for, to get slammed online of people all over the world being like, this is so dumb. But surprisingly, the feedback in the comments have been so insanely positive that I was like, is everyone okay? Like, wait, you're telling me like you guys like this and you think it's cool and you want me to do more? It's been the most insane, wonderful thing that I feel like, wow, like maybe this really could be my niche. Like I could be known as like the girl that sells these incredible properties with musicals. And people are like, they're loving it. It's really cool.
I feel like in all of this, your life story is going to become an actual musical.
That's what we're working on. If anyone wants to buy it, we have a treatment ready.
That's cool. But yeah, because it's like I don't know, just the whole story of where you've come from and what you're doing told as a musical, because you've got musical number. You've already got the soundtrack written.
I do. Yeah.
That's incredibly fun.
Thank you.
All right, so you need to workshop this.
You think? Do you think it's like a musical or like a TV, like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend meets like Glee? Or is it a musical on stage?
I think
we have to ask the audience once this goes live. I want everyone's feedback.
Yes. But I think actually given where the medium that you come from, I think that it should be a Glee, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend type of like farce of musicals that takes itself very seriously.
Yeah, totally.
It has to think it's the best thing.
I love that.
And then everyone will believe it, and then it will get translated to Broadway.
I love that. I guess what's your opinion? Because I've heard like mixed opinions on like, what are your thoughts on could a Glee, like a musical TV scripted series, work in today's world?
I think so. I really do. It all comes down to writing. Everything comes down to how good the writing is.
Yeah.
Because like that's why you look at marketing, and I'm putting my producer hat on, I look at the marketing and I say, are they selling the person or are they selling the show? And if they're selling the person, I'm like, well, what is it about the show, the story that isn't good enough to tell? Because that's what I want. I mean, yes, you have to sell tickets, you have to put butts in seats, you have to get people to come and word of mouth, have some people in it that people want to come see.
Yeah.
But then over time, what is it like? You look at something like a play that goes wrong. That's going on forever. And you have like Avenue Q and the Fantastics and these shows that just ran forever.
Yeah.
And it's the show that sells because the story is good.
And the writing is so strong.
The writing is good. The story is strong.
Yeah.
So you have a boost when you like stunt cast or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like even Chicago, right? Which,
Yeah.
by the way, you'd be a phenomenal Velma.
You know what?
Phenomenal Velma.
It's so funny,
Yeah.
No, I just find it so funny because, there was talks of me doing the Roxy stunt cast, and it was really like I've gone in for them, like on the season finale of the show, you see me audition, and it's for like it's for the Chicago casting directors. So there was talks, and I think it was very dependent on how does Owning Manhattan do? Does it have a big enough audience where it could sell tickets? And like maybe it's possible. But on the flip side, like I'm a Velma. Like I've done the Roxy material back and forth, but like I know that I'm a Velma. And they've never done like a stunt cast Velma, but I'm not really a stunt cast. So it's like I do feel in my heart of hearts it is a role I will play one day, but I think it's a matter of when.
I feel like you say you're not a stunt cast, but why do you say that? Because you can actually sing? And you can actually act?
Maybe. I think, they're putting in people with like huge followings, like Whitney Levitt, who has like a crazy following, like on socials, and she's on like the biggest reality TV show right now. So I think they wanted that type of, listen, I don't know. And I also think they've never seen me dance. And I was like, bring me in. Like, you've never seen it. Like, I've been a dancer since I was 4. Like, put me in. I already know the choreo. Like, I did it in high school with Jerry McIntyre, who like did it the original Chicago. Like, I'm ready.
Pitch it to Netflix.
I know.
Yeah. All right, Netflix, listen up.
Yeah.
Listen up. We're going to do a dance episode.
Yeah, exactly. Season 2. Season 3.
Are there any properties you have right now that you could like turn the living room into a dance studio? You could do a big choreographed number.
I don't want to give too much away for season 3. We're waiting for the green light, so fingers crossed I have a good feeling. But there's something in the works for my storyline that is actually happening that will be, I think, really, really cool if we get to film it.
Because that's something that's so unique about you in the real estate world, in the reality TV world. Because I mean, we've had things in the past like Search for Next Elle Woods,
which I was on. Fun fact.
Really?
I left Boston Conservatory to do that show. That's a crazy story.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
do you want to know?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened was I was at BOCO, 4 months into BOCO. I was a little freshman, and it came out on MTV, Legally Blonde. I watched it once, and I was like, I want to do that. That sounds so fun. The audition came about and all my friends were going. I am like no more Elle Woods. Like, I just don't know that that's my role. I could do it. I did so maybe. Okay, I digress. But we all went to this open call. It was like everyone in school, and I kept making it through all the rounds. And then finally you got to this last round, and they say, okay, listen, here's what's going to happen. You're signing a contract. You're in the top 15. You're going to be moved into this house, and you're going to be in this house until you get kicked off. Now, the first audition, episode 1, was this huge like mock audition. They had all these girls come back who didn't sign a contract and like made them think that they had made this like final round.
I've heard this. Yes.
But really, the 15 of us were put up in a hotel. We had all these meetings. We knew that it was going to get chopped down after this dance audition to 15 of us. So we get to the singing round. Seth Rudetsky is on piano, and I flop so hard. Like, I was not good. And like looking back, like I didn't prepare. I didn't know the show. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. 18-year-old Chloe just like went on vibes. Like, it was all just like, I got it. I can do it. I was a mess. I end up getting kicked off the very first night. It was me, Rachel Potter, some other girl that I can't remember her name. And I'm like in my hotel room, like eating chocolate chip pancakes, just being like, what have I done? I've left school. I can't go back. Like, how humiliating. I told everyone, like, peace out. I'm going to go be a star on Broadway. So I like went home to LA. I like left. Like, I just like went home to LA. I was like, once again, I was like, I can't cut it. Like, I'm not going to do this. And like a year after that, I was like, what am I doing? I'm like partying in LA. Like, what am I doing with my life? I was like, I'm going to go to an open call just to like get my feet wet. It was for Sophie and Mamma Mia. I booked the role and I went on tour.
Oh, hell. Come
I
on.
know. Isn't that a crazy story?
That's insane.
Insane.
So like Lena Hall and all the ladies. Yeah, you were with
With like some of them are like literal Broadway royalty now.
Right.
Autumn, like there's these really incredible girls. Lauren Zachrin, like it was an insane group. Even to have made it to the 15 with them, you know, that was, you know, it's all in 2020, you know?
All right. Your life story has to be a real, like, it has to be something. I want to watch it. You've got to see it on Netflix. We got to get all this together.
Maybe
like,
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Family friendly.
Yeah.
More family friendly. Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. So then you were just going through like these major all-in moments where you just got cut and rejected, which I feel like probably prepared you a little bit for the real estate world,
Totally.
I guess. Yeah, because sales is nothing but no's until you get that one yes you need.
You know what I realized? Like, real estate saved me in a lot of ways because you realize that the rejection is not personal. Like, I will be the right fit for some people and just like not the right fit for others. And that's just part of it. It's not about you. Like, and that's the same thing with theater and performing that I think a lot of us forget is like, you just literally might be too short.
Mhm.
Or like you have the like truly like your hair color isn't right or someone has a connection and you cannot take it. You just got to move on to the next. You can't take it so to heart.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't take it to heart. It's not personal, and it's about fitting into the puzzle. Because
Yes.
the person they might have cast just before you, for whatever reason, looks so much like you, they can't cast you
100%.
because it's two people that look the same,
Yeah.
right?
But if the casting directors are calling you in and you're making a good name for yourself, that is the win.
Yeah. I mean, again, getting the callbacks, getting seen over and over again, because then it's just a numbers game. You know you're good, and you know people want you, but yeah, it's got to be fitting. But I think in the real estate world, though, I guess when you were starting to go in there and before the musical side took off, were you still just, putting on the traditional suit and tie, the metaphorical suit and tie, and being like, all right, now I'm going to be the cookie cutter real estate agent that I think everybody wants? Or were you still like, how much of you do you still bring into all of that?
I think I've always really brought myself in. I think I am, I'm an annoying theater kid through and through, like I have a big personality. Like I've always tried to bring myself in. I'm the girl that like brings her toy poodle everywhere. She's not here today because it's cold out and she's, a little fussy. But I've always like had my own spin on real estate. And it just turns out that the more myself I am in my real estate career, the better I do, which I think is also like a big lesson learned is like be yourself, like be fully yourself and you'll find your people.
Mm-hmm. And is it for you? Is it like
A performance?
Well, no. I was going to say, well, maybe a little bit. What I was going to say was something about like I think it's a male dominated sort of industry. So then being a woman in this and then bringing in theater, which is traditionally also more geared towards women. Like, was that kind of a hard sell for some of these people?
I mean, I think that's like a big reason why I didn't want anyone to see that I was performing. I just was so desperate to be taken seriously. And it is mostly men. And I think even the way I was trying to speak to people or come off, and you see that a lot in season 1 of Owning Manhattan, is like, I almost felt like I needed to walk into the room and like almost be a little bit aggressive. Like I needed to really like, say things with my full chest and be very serious about things. And like, that really isn't me. Like that is like Velma, I'm playing Velma, like in a way, you know what I mean? Like I almost was playing a character because I thought I had to be a shark.
Yes.
When I think motherhood changed me in a lot of ways because I was like, I actually don't like that version of myself. Like, that's not what makes me feel like me. It's not what I want my daughter to see. I would never want my daughter to be like that. And so I really kind of shed this skin of trying to fit into this real estate world and was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be, the Chloe that I think people like and are like actually drawn to, who is just like, tries to be good and like have fun and like kind of a softer side. And that's really what started all of this of growing into this agent and person I am now.
In the editing, in the final edits though, is there something that like that has been taken out of context? Because I know I was talking Cassie Silva, do you remember her?
Yeah, oh my God, of course. I did a pilot with her when I was like little for Nickelodeon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've known Cassie for years.
She's amazing.
She sat right where you sat.
Wow.
You're sitting now. She was saying that like for when she was doing Search for Nextdale Woods, it was like she was edited to be the villain because they needed a villain in the story to have conflict, right? And like it came to a point where she was out in a mall and somebody dumped a soda from the second floor onto her head.
You're kidding.
No, like really bad kind of stuff. So like, but in your world with your reality TV, do the producers like push you towards one way or another because they want conflict, or are they trying to really just get your authentic self?
I think season 1 was hard. We had a completely different production team around us. I think it was hard because in a lot of ways they kind of needed certain archetypes to make a show work. And I don't think they necessarily were like, you're going to be the villain, you're going to be this. But I think they definitely leaned in to certain parts of my personality on top of letting things get really out of context, where I think season 1 of reality shows are difficult because everyone wants to be on camera. You don't know what's real, what people are making up for the camera. And I kind of fell into the trap of like, there was one person in particular who is a good friend of mine. Her name's Jade, and everyone kind of knows this story that like, I thought she was making up a storyline about her husband cheating on her. Like, because, things were that like crazy with people and you didn't know who to trust and you didn't know what was real. And like, that was awful because he really was cheating. Like, it's a whole, like, if you look online and kind of look into the backstory of it, I was just like, I kept saying like, I don't believe you. I think you're making this up for camera. Like, the story's not adding up. But instead of kind of breaking the fourth wall, they just made me seem like I was so cold and just like not a good person. And I mean, I regret a lot of the way I handled that. But once again, it's like you live and learn is you can't get pulled into the what's real, what's not. You got to just look at what's in front of you and go from there.
I feel like I would be just constantly not myself worrying about all of the cameras around. Does that make sense? Like, oh, I'm just going to turn this way so I can get a better angle. Do you ever forget that they're there?
Yeah, I think now you get so used to it. And they really are. What I like about our show is like, they really are following our real lives. But the way they shoot it, they try to shoot it like a Succession. So you feel like you're in a scripted show, but it's reality. So it's like, it's a reality show with a scripted lens, which I just think is like really awesome and unique. And it feels real because like they're literally just following our lives. And I just think it turned out really, really well, especially season 2.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because I've heard it kind of go both ways in a couple different reality people that I have spoken to. Reality star, reality person? Sure, reality star, great. No, I've heard it go both ways. And I think, like me personally, I don't know how I would handle someone who's following me around with a camera. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick commercial break. All right, everyone, now we're back. I had this thing, and I don't know if I'm alone in this, when I was a kid, like especially a teenager, I would go throughout my day pretending or imagining someone was watching me.
Yeah, when I smoked weed in my 20s, the same thing happened to me. I felt like I was in the Truman Show, so I understand that fully.
I hadn't touched weed at that
That's
point
so
in my
funny.
life. No, mine had nothing to do with weed. I would just be like, mine was more alien related.
Mm,
So I'd be like, oh,
Okay.
like an alien is using my eyes to look through at the human race. And so they're
Wow.
seeing what I'm seeing right now.
That's deep.
I don't know. It really kind of bothered me
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah. I hear you. Like, I think especially when you're a creative person, like you get these very intrusive thoughts. And I mean, I've dealt with that like most of my life. That's why like drugs are not my thing because it really like makes all that like heightened, I think. But yeah, it's something I think us creatives like all have to just like be careful of and like always like ground ourselves in reality because I think it's so easy to get, lost in the craziness of the world.
But it became performative. It bothered me for a while, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to show off. I'm going to do things that I think they will think is funny.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Right.
you're like performing for this.
For this imaginary alien using my eyes to see the human race.
Hey.
That's how messed up I am.
But you know what? I almost feel like why not think like that? You know what I mean? Like why not? It's like if that keeps things interesting and you're pushing yourself out there. I mean, it's tricky. This is a whole nother podcast, but I could talk about this stuff for hours. It's tricky.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so Fly High, tell me about that. Why
Yes.
you're successful reality star, successful musicals in real estate. So now you're going full on songwriting.
So I didn't write this. This was Michael Mott. Do you know Michael Mott?
I used to perform at Busch Gardens with Michael
No
Mott.
way.
Michael's an old friend of mine.
yeah.
I did not know he wrote this. Say hi to
Why-
him for me.
I will. Michael Mott is just so good, and I've followed his career for so long.
Yeah.
Michael Ferreira, who's my musical director in everything I do, the one that put this Townhouse musical director, he hired Michael Mott to be one of the background singers on this Townhouse musical track. And I like knew who he was. I was like, oh my God, Michael Mott, like I love you. And as we were filming the season, production knew that I was in talks with Chicago. I had gone in for an audition, like this was a whole thing. And they were like, that's like really interesting. If anything happens with that, let us know. And I think what happened was the Townhouse musical came out and it started going really viral. And a lot of the theater Broadway community started reaching out to me. And it so happened that casting office, ARC, called and was like, hey, like, we see this stuff you're doing. Why don't you come back in and just like sing for us? And we were like, cool, can like we film it? And they were like, sure. So when I went in for them, I was like, what am I going to sing that like, it's basically a general audition that they're getting on camera. I need to do kind of two things at once. Like I need to sing something that works for the stuff they cast, I guess, but I also want to sing something that feels like very emotionally connected to where I am. I was talking to Michael Ferrara and he's like, there's a song that Michael Mott wrote called Fly High that I really think you should take a listen to. I heard it. I was like, this is the song. Like, this is exactly what I feel like where I am in my life. It's all about just like taking that first step and just like seeing where things go and being open. And so I was like, hey, Michael, like, I know this is crazy, but would it be cool and okay with you if I sing Fly High on Owning Manhattan for this like a big audition that they're going to film? And he was like, I love that. He came to the filming. Like, it's really awesome. He's just such a light and just such an incredible creative.
It really is an incredible writer and composer.
Yeah.
Can I fly high through the sapphire sky, watching the world below? Be free like the wind on the sea, gazing on all I know. So let's go. Just
Very much so. But you didn't answer my question though.
Oh.
Why
Why?
why release it as a single?
Oh,
do you
yeah.
want to get into like actual album making at any point now? Because like as the person who constantly can't stop creating, I understand that you're like, well, I'm good at this now. I got that done. Let's keep adding and adding and adding.
You know what's funny is before, when I was younger, I was very into the recording world. I like got a production deal when I was like 11. Like they wanted me to be the new JoJo. Like it was very much what I did growing up. It was like a very big part of my childhood is like recording these songs, writing. Then, I just like stopped doing that. And then I went into, I just went into another lane. And I think with Fly High, I was like, God, like this is such a great song. And I know they're only going to show so much of it in this audition. Like, wouldn't it be cool if people could go and like download the song and listen to the full thing? And not only will people have it, but like it's a song that I really sang for my daughter. The whole thing on the show, it's like they're like, "Why are you singing this song?" And I'm like, I'm imagining I'm singing it to my daughter who's 2, but she's going into college, and I'm saying, don't make the mistakes I did. Like, go for your dreams. And I was like, I want her to have that one day that she can like listen to and be like, "Oh wow, like my mom did this TV show and she recorded this song." So yeah, now it's just cool to have it out in the world, and people, if they fall in love with it on the show, they can listen to the whole thing.
That's really smart. Are you going to do more? Do you want to do more?
I think so. There's definitely talks about me doing like a live show, and there's like a lot of things I want to do. I never really know which is the right direction to go in. I think sometimes like you can understand like when you're a super creative person, like you can do this, you can do that. It's like, where do I really put my focus? And I think for me, it's like wherever I like really feel drawn to. And, right now I think it's more in seeing if there's legs with this like scripted world of my life and, doing more Chloe Manhattan type things. So it's like, but yeah, like it's definitely something I want to do at some point.
Well, you can do, like a green room.
Everything.
Green room 42. Yeah, you could do everything. Green room 42, Studio 54, 54 below, and other concert venues with numbers in the names.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for real, just, I think put this together and like if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah, you're right. I'm a little scared to do it. So maybe you're right. Like, but what if no one comes? Like, what if no one wants to see me
Then
perform?
you rework it.
Yeah.
That is 12-year-old you talking.
Yeah, maybe.
That's 12-year-old you not believing in yourself.
Yeah, no, you're so right. I got to
think
come
you
here on your show more often. It's like a little therapy session.
I think you need to. Okay.
Okay, maybe I will.
So let us start to wind down with plot in 60 seconds.
Ooh.
So I have a list of 17 popular musicals right here on my computer.
Okay.
You're going to give me a number 1 through 17.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what musical you chose from my list. And then you give me the plot to that musical in 60 seconds or less.
I give you the plot, so just pick a number.
Pick a number and then make it up if you don't know it.
1 through 17?
Yep.
17.
17 is the musical. 6, go.
60 seconds
Oh my God,
remaining.
6, the musical, is about these queens, and it's these like very controversial women, and they all get on stage and they sing a song about their relationship with the king. I can't remember which one at this time because I was not a history buff. However, they like get up and they sing these like incredible songs. Oh my God.
Seconds
Oh my God.
remaining.
And it's like literally the best music you've ever heard ever. I have the album on repeat in my house, but they all wear these like different costumes, and one's in pink and one's in purple. And they just like all sing together, and they do these crazy harmonies and these dances. And I'm really not giving you the plot. I'm just like telling you what I love about the show because I'm like a 6 like fan. I'm obsessed with the show. But by the end, there's like a whole plot twist, and it's actually like this very interesting take and opinion about like women and like how they're competing, but really like they do better when they work together. And like, oh wow, I only have 16 seconds.
15
And also
remaining.
all you want to do, that's like such a bop. And also the other one is like such a bop where she like sings about her like kid, and if I ever like had a song to sing, that's the one I would do.
5,
It's the one
4,
about the Stones. Oh my
3,
God, this is like really stressful.
2.
I love 6 the musical. That was really fun.
Henry VIII.
Oh my God, that's the one. I was like, I can't say the wrong king. That will be humiliating. Henry VIII. I was gonna say the 5th, so I'm glad I did
Henry
it.
VIII. Henry VIII. Yeah. So we've had a couple Sound of Musics that were like curtains and Nazis. The end.
Yeah, I would have been screwed with that one. Like mountains and singing, and there's like an apron I feel like she wears. I don't know.
Yeah, it turns curtains into an apron. Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that. All
no.
right. So the 3 standard closing questions that I
Ooh.
wrap up every episode with. The first one simply is just what motivates you.
My kid, my daughter, my 2-year-old, I just want her to live her dreams and go for it. And I want to, be a good example of that.
Oh, I love that. All right. And I think you might have answered this already, but the next question is, what advice would you give to your younger self and younger people listening now, starting out down a similar path?
Yeah, I would say, don't beat yourself up. Put in the work, stay consistent. And every no is just an opportunity for the right yes to come along.
Last question, hardest one. If you can
Ooh.
only see one show for the rest of your life, but you can see it as many times as you want, what would you see?
Next to Normal. But the original with Aaron Tveit. What's his name? With Aaron Tveit and
Aaron Tveit.
Oh God, yeah. He's like, what a man that is. I'm such a fan. But yeah, I just love that score, and I just bawl and I like smile, and that's my favorite musical ever.
Have you seen him in Chess yet?
Oh wait, yes, I saw it the other night. Actually, Becca and I were just talking about this.
So good.
Those are three of the best voices of our generation.
And Hannah Cruz.
Oh, and Hannah Cruz.
throw-
What a
yeah.
star. And also Danny Strong, like, that is a tough book. He did such a great job, like, trying to bring humor to it, making sense of it. Like, it is a tough show, and they did the best possible version, and version of it they could.
I love it. I was like, that's one of those musicals where on paper, I'm like, why did they make a musical? This is not something you need to make a musical about.
Yeah.
But then you see it, and the performances
Beyond.
beyond.
Like, I was blown away. I was like, I mean, like, what an honor to see these people on stage.
One night in Bangkok.
So good. So good.
All right, where can we find you online and connect with you and see all your fun musical clips and everything?
You can find me, Chloe in Manhattan, on Instagram and Chloe Tucker Caine on TikTok.
And you can get me at theater _podcast. I don't know. Check the show notes, man. I'm out there. It's all in the show notes. Chloe's stories, Insta stories, socials.
There we go.
I'm doing great today.
You're killing it.
I'm killing it.
What a light you
I'm
are.
doing the best I can today. I'm getting over something in my throat. You can hear it. You're doing great. I'm doing great.
We're doing
Check
great.
the show notes for everything. I'm gonna put the link to Fly High in the show notes, and I'm gonna put Michael Mott's stuff in the show notes too. 'cause
he's awesome.
You got to connect with Michael Mott as well. And thanks to Welcome to Times Square for the studio. We are in now, and Chloe, thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
You're so awesome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks.